family and friends. For those who don't know me, I am Dawn Hernser-Hahn. I'm Honey's only granddaughter. And sitting here today, I realized we gathered in this place before in good times and bad for Honey and Otto's 50th wedding anniversary, for Ty and my wedding, for Otto's final celebration of life a few years ago, and then today for Honey's. To you, she might have been Mrs. Hernser, or Fran, Aunt Frances, or Mom. To me, she was simply Honey. As a child, I once asked my mom why we called her parents Grandma and Grandpa, and we called Dad parents Honey and Otto. And she said, well, Honey and Otto thought grand made them sound old. So forevermore, they were Honey and Otto. She lived an astonishing 101 years. Father Preston gave her a bonus. She was born during the pandemic and died during the pandemic. How many people get to say that ever? I was only blessed to know Honey 40-something years of her 101 on this earth, but I assure you that I got the best years. Because as grandchildren, we always get the best years, right? We get the years where those gifts of the Holy Spirit have blossomed. We get the advantage of wisdom, understanding, patience, knowledge, and courage. I never knew Frances, the precocious child, or the rebellious teenager. Having 3 teenage daughters of my own, I'm positive she was one. I'm sure it runs in the family. I didn't know the young woman who had suitors before my grandfather, but I'm confident of that as well. I didn't know the pharmacy technician who waited patiently at home for Otto to come home from World War II. I knew the woman who was fearless. She could clean a fish, she could clean a deer, and she could use an electric kitchen knife without cutting off her finger, which I thought was absolutely amazing. She was always beautiful and poised. Her outfits were on point, as the people would say. Her bag always matched her shoes, and her eyebrows were always perfect. Just last month in December, before we visited her, the week before Christmas, one of her care providers pulled me aside and said, "Psst, Honey needs a new eyebrow pencil." It was really important to her that, even at 101 years old, she looked her best every day. She taught me so many practical skills in life. She taught me to thread a sewing machine and take up a hem, how to set a table and how to fold a napkin, and she always used cloth napkins, which I thought was incredibly fancy. I asked my brother Dylan yesterday what lesson he learned from Honey, and he said, without hesitation, the value of a good pair of boots. Honey loved to cook. It was her love language, and if you ever tasted her fig and strawberry jam, you already knew that. For my brother Sean, it was clam chowder every time, especially when he was an adult and he was coming to visit, we were having clam chowder. For myself, and then on to my children, it was chocolate haystacks. And now we and they knew how to make them. And for my older brother, she even got him to like Jell-O by putting it in a fancy parfait glass with a bunch of whipped cream. So you can see from all of the experiences, the most important thing that I learned from Honey was how to love. I watched the way she loved Otto for 67 years and beyond. The way she loved her siblings. Opal was always like a bonus grandma. She was always around. She always bragged on her beautiful baby sister Betty just as much. And she loved her church, and she loved her priest. She was the only person I know who had the priest over for dinner on a regular basis and took them to Astros games. But most of all, she loved those grandbabies. She had 10 of them over a course of 20-something years. And no matter how she was doing when she saw them, she lit up. In November, the 3 babies who are not here today were able to come and visit her through the window. And even through the window, she lit up. And I really, truly believe that their visit gave her the boost to get through 2 to 3 more months. So, that's what I'll always take from her. Her love of her family, her love of God, and always wear good boots.